We have arrived at the popular Korea International Circuit in Yeongnam, South Korea for the running of the Korean Grand Prix. The second season in a row, GP4 visits here after the cancellation of Singapore. Coming into this week, one team has made the headlines this week. That team in question we are referring to is Mclaren, as after so much speculation, they have announced that two-time world champion Joseph Willows will remain with the team for another season. Joseph has had a shaky 2020 season with a lot of bad luck that hasn't been his fault. He currently lies 12th in the Drivers' Championship, 1 point behind Andrea Verderi, and his team Mclaren lie 5th in the Constructors, 29 points ahead of Ferrari. In the last two races, Joseph has shown signs that he hasn't lost it, with him leading both the Belgian and Italian Grand Prix and looking to finish in a good position, before a mechanical failure in Belgium cost him a possible podium and dramatic tyre wear on his Mclaren costing him a shot at the win in Monza. Joseph will be relieved to still be with Mclaren in 2021, and he hopes the team will make a big leap forward in 2021 in the hopes that he can compete for victories and the World Championship. This does mean for Hoang Min Nguyen and Hento Sinonome that they have missed out on a possible drive at McLaren. However, in the case of Min, it might not be the end of his chance to make it into the top class, as he is one of many contenders competing to be Andrea Verderi's teammate at Alfa Romeo next season. However, as mentioned, there is a long list of contenders, with many of them, including the team's current driver Gabriel Gomez, who could still get retained by Alfa Romeo should he pick up his performances, current GP2 Championship leader Aaron Curtis should he miss out on Aston Martin, fellow GP2 Championship contenders Ruslan Protsiuk, Rahul Patel should he miss out on Lamborghini, and Jesus Perinen should he miss out on Renault, German driver David Kupak should he not get retained by AlphaTauri, and current DTM Championship leader and former top class driver Romain Grosjean should he miss out on Renault. It will be fascinating to see who ends up being Andrea's teammate at Alfa Romeo for 2021. The final bit of news today concerns the brand new round 16 for both the 2020 and 2021 seasons, which has been speculated for a while now. Well, as we announced last week, we now know the identity of the brand new round 16, and we are about to reveal it to you right now. After so much speculation, it has been announced that round 16 of the 2020 and 2021 GP4 offline championships will take place at the popular Sepang International Circuit in Kuala Lumpur. Yes, the Malaysian Grand Prix is returning to the GP4 OC calendar for the first time since 2017. A lot of people will be happy about this news, but at the same time surprised, given that the last time GP4 OC went to Sepang, it ended up being a chaotic race, even to the point where Yuri was practically doing his best not to pull his hair out. However, as a result of the recent weight patch that got released for GP4, it has resolved a lot of track problems GP4 OC has had with certain tracks in the past. The Hungaroring served as a proven example of this, albeit with the Turn 1 shenanigans which nearly ruined that. After a recent test with the weight patch around Sepang, Yuri was satisfied with the results of that test and concluded that Sepang was once again viable for GP4 OC to use again. It should also be pointed out for anyone wondering that the initial plan was to have two different tracks as round 16 for both seasons. 2020's round 16 would take place at Sepang as we have announced, however 2021's round 16 was originally scheduled to take place in Buenos Aires, which would have hosted the first ever Argentine Grand Prix for GP4 OC and would have given current champion Franco Lopez a home race. However, due to issues with the Buenos Aires circuit when you retested it, the plan was scrapped, and despite other circuits being considered, it was decided in the end that Sepang would be on the calendar for both this season and next season at the very least. It's going to be very exciting for GP4 OC to return to Malaysia, and I personally cannot wait. And that is it for this week's edition of the GP4 OC News. The next team news will break at the returning Malaysian Grand Prix next week, who will be announced during to practice next Tuesday at Sepang.
Well, welcome to Korea, everybody. You've just heard the team news, and yep, no real surprises. Just Willows will be staying at McLaren, and yeah, the next race will after this will be in Malaysia. We'll be going back to Sepang, so that's quite interesting. Hello there, everybody. I am Rahul Patel, and I'm joined by Robert Ionescu today. We and Captain Ginyu forced us to switch bodies, so that is why you hear our voices all mixed up.
Yes, yes, I am Robert Ionescu, obviously, and obviously there's no rain for practice, so we are getting this practice session going.
Yeah, jokes aside, it's good to be here. Finally back in Korea after one season. After the race we had last season, of course. Good to be back here. But more importantly, it'll be great to be back in Malaysia for the first time since 2017. What do you think?
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, last time we went there wasn't the best for our host, but hopefully this one can be the day where it will be fine.
Looks like we got a driver going out already. Amelia Hame Wilson is going out first in the manor.
Yep, indeed. Obviously,
Here's the sec-
she has her future secured as well from the fantasy era as she is moving to house. That was confirmed last week,
Be right back.
and yep, I think Amelia is pretty delighted. We saw last week that she was very delighted to be confirmed at house, and yeah, yeah. Hopefully, she can keep on going into the fantasy era. As yes, he is the first one out on track. Speaking of the team news for this week, only one driver confirmed, which was to the shock of no one, as what Rob has said. Joseph Willows remains with McLaren. I mean, not really surprised about this, even though he had well, I won't say the word that he will usually say because I don't want to say it. Um,
Shambolic.
why it's not shambolic. I'd say an average season,
Hmm.
even though he has been struck with bad luck
Well, in any
from some
case,
of
I
the
don't think there
races.
was any
Yeah,
surprise that he was going to get retained. Maybe some people thought that would not be the case, but it was always going to be a very long shot.
yeah, indeed. As
James
I
Wilson will be
mean,
starting first lap here in Korea.
yep,
And this circuit is rather interesting because it's got a little bit of everything. The first sector, it's got two insanely long straights, especially this one we're on right now. It's also got its fair share of slow corners. In the middle sector, it's all about the medium speed corners, and finally in the last sector, it's all about the fast corners, with some medium speed corners for good measure as well. So yeah, it's definitely very interesting, I believe. What do you think?
yeah, indeed.
My
We
mistake,
don't.
actually. Sector 2 is about the fast corners, Sector 3 is about the medium speed corners, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean. As we are on board with David Kupak, who is behind Amelia Wilson in the manner.
Obviously, it's pretty much impossible to overtake anywhere other than in the first sector, but that doesn't mean it's a bad track, it's a very good one. As 49.2 for David Kupak in the first sector, that's already half the lap. I'm I'm not s- I'm gonna say it's quite weird how whoever made this mod arranged the sectors because sector 1 is obnoxiously long, but in any case
Oh,
it's not
that
like a
Kiro
big
is
deal
making
as
a big
Josa goes very
drift.
wide.
Kiros Rosa making the biggest drift we've seen. We don't want to talk about the test race, but anyway,
Well, it's not
as
like I watched that, but that
you
didn't
got a lot of
justify
overs there, pretty much, which sent him into a near half spin. He just drifted off the track.
Thank God this wasn't part of Squid Game because otherwise he'd be in trouble.
Yeah, and he's gonna compromise the Red Bull, who is behind him.
Yeah, indeed, 50.8. Obviously, that's not representative of the car's pace. But I got to say, this McLaren, unlike the real life thing we got this year, is actually not too slow. As here we have David Kupak finishing his lap, obviously surpassing Wilson, but Lopez beats them both by a comfortable margin, which is to be expected. I mean, the lad's in the Mercedes. What did you
Yep.
expect? As Wilson now has to make way for Lopez, almost colliding with him.
Yep, as George Rook is up to second. Now Roberto Gamba in third with Willows in fourth. Who is 6 tenths off. Roberto Gamba half a second off. Galloway in fifth, getting held up by his teammate.
Here we have Galloway trying to make a move on Byrne.
Yep, and Byrne in 11th actually. Chatfield now up to third. 2 tenths off of Lopez.
Indeed.
Yep. As now Carl goes to the top with a 1:34.2. Now Gal goes to the top with a 1:34.2, slightly quicker than Omar Carr, 79 thousandths ahead. Gomez
Red
goes
Bull
to the
are
top 10 in ninth.
surprisingly not terrible here.
Surprisingly.
Speaking of Red Bull, I
What-
mean, not terrible in relation to
what can you say?
Mercedes. But yeah, surprising about Red Bull, with Miklos Gal being confirmed to AlphaTauri, it means the fight for the second Red Bull seat alongside George Roque is a very straightforward fight. It's between Franco Gamba and the legend himself, the GOAT, Nick Tander. Nobody even knows who the hell he is, but he has a solid non-zero chance of getting the seat. If he can beat Franco Gamba to it despite not having raced ever in any category, we'll wait and see.
Knowing Joe, he will replace Nick Tander with someone else in contention to fight
If
Franco
Nick
Gamba for the
Tander
second
gets the
seat
Red Bull
anyway, but
seat, I
yeah.
expect Joe to make the video "Who is Nick Tander?" and the video will be just one frame, white text on a black background saying, "I have no fucking idea."
Nice demonetization. Just
We are already
looking.
demonetized.
Yeah. Willows now up to fifth once again. Griffiths in the top 10. He's in ninth. Now Franco Gamba's in eighth. They're also now in ninth.
Yeah,
They improves, but he stays in 16th. Sontag
Martinez
improves,
doesn't
stays.
improve, but Gal does. Remains
Yeah,
fast, of course, but with 134.0.
yeah, indeed. As Gomez improves, he goes into the top 10. Kirby improves, he goes 15th.
Indeed. And Franco Gamba is behind his cousin Roberto at the moment. This is not good if he wants to beat Nick Tander.
All jokes aside, yeah.
Yeah, jokes
Doesn't
aside,
really have that much
it's
competition,
pretty
but
much all but confirmed. We just need to wait for the official confirmation. As looks like there's
and
a
there's
blue
a
entry for
smoking banner of
Martinez.
Rosetta Martinez. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
very weird to see Andrew Failer this early on in practice. But that'll be currents for this run for Martinez, that's for sure. If he can make it back to the pits, it's another matter, and I think the answer to that matter is no.
Yep, indeed.
There you go, he's pulling over to the side of the track, hitting into the wall for good measure. He's gonna run to the pit lane and jump in the T car as fast as humanly possible. Lopez has gone to the pits meanwhile, and there we have the yellow flags. Not like there's gonna be an overtaking there. We got yellow flags nonetheless, as Byrne has improved to be 17.
Yeah,
Frank
Chung
has improved
improves.
to 11th, and Franco Gamba finally gets in front of Roberto Gamba and a few other people. So does De Rosa. De Rosa up to 8th, Franco Gamba up to 5th.
Yep, indeed. Ronald Muchin improves. He was 17th. He's been outplaced by Felix Sontag, who's in 17th, as he improved his lap time.
Looks like there were actually two other contenders for the Red Bull seat, but that's only if they miss out on their number one picks, of course. So, yeah, when it comes to people who actually have number one Red Bull, it is Franco Gamba and whoever the heck Nick Tander is supposed to be. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Looks like smooth sailing for Franco Gamba, but it's not confirmed yet, of course. So who knows what can happen.
Yep, indeed. As we're on board with Kupak, who has a personal best in the middle sector. Can he improve from 14th? You will see as he comes across the line, and
Yes,
he does. He goes up to
coming
12th.
to 12th place, just 200s behind our Chung in 11th.
Yep. As Fraser improves, he goes up to 10th.
That's a big improvement. Haven't scored any points so far this season, correct me if I'm wrong. So they definitely need a good showing, even if it's just practice. Having some pace around here could definitely help a long way.
Yeah. You never know. These are practice. It's practice, so not really representative.
Yes.
As much and improves, he goes up to 15th, Ferrari in 17th. Gal getting held up by the Mercedes. I think that's on my car. As Gomez improves, he's up into 10th. Chung right behind Renault. That is Jake Galloway, who is he right
It's
behind.
true. Seems
Yep.
to be raining at that specific corner and that alone. Or at least it looks like it. But obviously, its track's not being impacted. You can see by David Kupak improving 2 tenths up in the middle sector.
Yep, indeed. So far in 13th.
Meanwhile, one takeaway I've drawn from the Team News video is that the Lamsa series is canon to the OC, which means Lamsa could be a contender for one of the remaining seats. Who knows? As Kupak has improved to go up into 10th place, just about passing the racing point. That didn't stop Federi, did it? In
Yeah,
sports
definitely
terms,
38.
38 is as good as 70.
Yeah, as well as improves to 5th.
Yeah, indeed. But Kupak is having his hands full that racing point. I don't think he's going to improve on this lap, and neither did De Rosa as he makes his way past that Renault. And there he goes. I think that was Jay Galloway or Evan Byrne. Has to be one of the two, honestly.
That's Galloway
Yeah, it
because
is.
Burns in the pits. As Gal improves, he goes into the 133s.
Yep, indeed, as his teammate is still going side by side with Galloway. I think he's got him around the outside there, yes. Kupak, meanwhile, obviously being impeded. I wonder how much longer he's going to stay out on track from this run.
Yeah, we'll see. He's not improving. Unfortunately, he got compromised by the racing plate in front of him,
Yes,
and yeah, you can just see. So far, he won't improve on that lap time.
no, definitely not.
And he is coming in to end this stint at them for now.
So that's it for this run.
Yep.
Well, not too terrible. He's up in P10, which is where he should be, of course, if he wants to beat his teammate Chris Chatfield. Though, having said that, he's not being Chatfield right now. But what I'm saying is, he needs to be in the points and just hope he does better than his teammate because those two are scrapping for the one remaining AlphaTauri seat. Obviously, Miklos Gal surprised pretty much everybody with his sign-up decision, but thanks to that sign-up decision, it means the AlphaTauri drivers are gonna have to play a game of musical chairs on who gets to stay at the team. What do you think, Ra?
Yeah, would be tight to see who will get the AlphaTauri seat, but you never know what can happen.
Indeed.
Roberto Gamba, he's made a mistake. He had a similar mistake to De Rosa, but he didn't go off the track. Yep, he stayed
Indeed.
on the track, so good enough for him. But that's pretty much compromised his lap.
It's very intriguing to see just how much fuel he's got on board. 28.4, I think that says. And yeah, obviously it looks like he's practicing his race pace. Could be useful tomorrow, we'll see.
Yep, indeed. There's
Whatever the
Jake
case, he's
Galloway.
currently outpacing his teammate, so that can only be good for him. Let's see, we have Joe Willows.
As
Where do you
Roke
finishes up?
improves, he stays in 4th.
Indeed. Willows, I think he'll be definitely feeling happy be retained at McLaren as we're heading into a fantasy era. This will be the first season where we don't know the car performances. When we don't know the car performances in advance, I should say. Martinez could now improve on his personal best, 2.2 seconds down as a matter of fact, but good to see him back out on track. We have the Rosa, who can't improve either.
Yes, Galloway improves. He's up into 10th. Joe across the line doesn't improve. He got held up by the Williams as
Yeah.
he's overtaken him.
I am curious, by the way, Yeri, if Franco didn't sign up for Red Bull and no one else except for Nick Tander signed up for Red Bull, would that mean he gets the seat despite having literally no experience or what?
Why would he?
Yeah, but what if he was the only person who had it as a choice ever?
So I'm in the voice now. So if the situation would have been that Red Bull would only have a driver and then somebody who's never raced in the OC or doesn't have any merit whatsoever, the sign-up team will literally drag me out of retirement and force me to drive the car.
Oh, alright, I see. That's
Kysel lapset olla.
right?
That's basically it.
Well, fair enough.
And I can't believe we had to we had to have this discussion here at this point of time. We could have had this at the end of the season.
I'm just messing around, as Roberto Gamba has improved, so has Jake Galloway.
I'm a little annoyed about that, Rob, but don't do it again.
In any case, you have De Rosa gaining the slipstream. I'm not quite sure who that is in front. I can't tell from this distance. It looks like a racing point though, as Byrne has improved to go up into unlucky 13th.
Yep, we're looking at Andre Federi, who is currently in 19th. He's going for the first sector fight in a few moments.
Yeah. De Rosa is still down by 2.5 tenths in the first sector, encountering some traffic now in S2. Kupak is the only car not on track meanwhile. Right now, as Roberto Gamba has had a massive lockup into the fast left-hander. Roque has improved yet again, but stayed in 4th fastest. Roberto Gamba only 4 tenths down despite that lockup, so he hasn't lost too much time. Let's see as he continues this run.
Yep.
Chat looks not so lively right now. If I'm making things boring, I do apologize, as Martinez crosses the line to not improve. But Chatfield does improve to go up to a very impressive 5th place.
Yep, indeed, as much and improves, he is in 14th.
Quite some way down from his teammate George Roque.
Yep, indeed.
Obviously, they won't be teammates next season. Both of them have had their seats confirmed for 2021. So there's that. As now De Rosa is encountering a little bit of traffic.
He is gonna end the stint.
So
yeah.
it's not like it's gonna harm him or anything. As long as he doesn't crash into the back of him, of course, which I trust he's not gonna do that in practice. Looks like Martinez is holding up Franco Lopez in the meantime, the championship leader and the reigning champion. Not on improvement exactly right now, but he is the better placed at the Mercs. Right now, I believe the gap is, 35 points or something like that? Wilson, meanwhile, has improved, but she's still in last, 6 tenths down her teammate. Roque improves yet again on those hard tires, but still stays in 4th. So it does look like he can find much more pace than that. His teammate, meanwhile, continues to impede Kirshma De Rosa, but not for long, as the pole will be racing with Italian nationality from next season. Will come into the pits right about at the end of this lap, of course, which is right about now. You have Lopez making his way past the manor, or at least trying to. Alberto Gamba improves up to 5th place, as Lopez will come in at the end of this lap. He can't overtake that manor.
Yep, Yates Federi doesn't improve and he's coming into the pits.
And out of the pits goes, I believe that is Miklos Gal. Yes, it is. And look at this, Martinez is also being attacked by the Alpha Tauri, who makes his way through. Byrne improves up to 11th, as Zontag improves to stay 20th.
Yep, he had a near 3 wide moment.
Pit call for Federi, so that's the end of his run. As Franco Gamba has improved, got up to 4th place. Roque is no longer in 4th.
Yep, indeed.
Looks like Lopez is having some Italy flashbacks because at Monza he was in the not so comfortable situation of Manor and lapping it herself from him, and of course that he had that off right at the end of the race, which cost him second. But in any case, Hunter Federi is keeping Miklos Gal at bay for the remainder of this lap. It doesn't even matter anyway. Gal is on his out lap, Federi's on his in lap. Yeah, what did you think of that Monza race, Rahul?
Pretty exciting to be honest. Lots of action. I mean, obviously anything can happen there, but we saw near end with Lopez losing out on 2nd place. Yeah, that defines anything can happen.
Yeah, that was quite a shocker. He'll be hoping it doesn't harm his defense of the title. Of course, he's still got a healthy advantage over Amarka, but it can always go away. So let's see what's going to happen in the remaining races. I think Zontag was 1/10 of an improvement. We have Martin meanwhile making his way past that Mclaren.
Gomez improves. Yeah.
There's obviously quite a lot of speculation. It was also touched in the chat earlier. And I think the team news as well, onto the second Alfa Romeo seat on who will partner Andrea Federi for next season. Gabriel Gomez is, of course, one of the contenders, but I don't think he'll have it as easy as he did last season. Not saying last season was easy, of course, but I think his odds of being retained are a little bit smaller than they were this time last season. I think Gabriel Gomez needs every single point he can get. What do you think?
Yeah, and with this season's Alfa Romeo, not as competitive as it was last season, but knowing the drama of this season, they could still get points, and miracles can happen for Gomez and Alfa Romeo, knowing that they are pretty close to Alfa Tauri.
Yeah,
But,
Gomez is gonna need some miracles sooner rather than later. As Wilson improved yet again. Let's watch Mochin. He is being impeded, so he's not going pro on this lap. We got 8 minutes left on the clock. Let's jump to Felix Zontag.
Yep. Now looking at Jamie Griffiths is going to be taken by the Red Bull. I think that
There
is
was quite a lot of
Nicolas
speculation heading into today that Jamie Griffiths would be announced to be retained by Williams. However, the announcement hasn't happened yet, so we're gonna have to wait a week, at the very least, to see if he can get retained.
Only time will tell. I mean, he has scored points this season. I mean, not the best way to score points, not the strategy he had. Yeah. Yep, Franco Gamba up to second. Speaking of Griffiths, the way he scored points wasn't the best way he thought he would score points, but he would take it. But hopefully, he will have a good chance of getting points. Maybe this race we will see. You never know. Maybe in the near future he could get more points.
Yeah, he'll be hoping for that. Wilson improves yet again, but she's still in last place, still 4/10 down. Or is it Martinez? Yes, we're on board with Zontag. He's gonna come into the pits this lap. His teammate is out on a push run, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of programs Williams are running and how well they can manage in this practice session.
Yep, indeed. As Mochin sliding across the final 2 corners.
Definitely struggling with the
fine a bit, but yeah, he couldn't improve.
Nope.
And he's still in 14th anyway.
Not a good omen, but he might have been running some race programs, most likely. That could explain the massive gap between himself and Rogue. But in any case, practice doesn't give you the points, it doesn't set the grid, so for all intents and purposes, doing poorly in practice means deadly squat, as Willows has just improved to go up into A fastest.
Coming through the first sector. He's not an improvement. Over 1.5 times down. The first sector. Let's see, he has Kirosima De Rosa as Lopez has gone for his
Fernando
spin.
Lopez at the start of the
Yeah,
middle sector.
Is
Well,
that-
not start of the middle sector because the middle sector starts a little bit later. But
yeah,
at the end
unlike
of the straight, the right-hander after that.
unlike Kirosima De Rosa and Roberto Gamba, instead of saving it, he completely loses it.
Well, he lost the rear there. Then I think we right-hander. He's gone extremely wide there, almost dipping a wheel onto the grass. But now he's back up, going the right way.
Yeah. And those kind of mistakes could cost him a championship. Nearly did. And, well, could have happened last season, but of course he was way ahead. So, yeah. Same thing here, but not as way ahead as
He
last
still has a
season.
solid
But,
advantage on
yeah.
our car, but the season is still far from over.
Yeah. And knowing his battle with himself and Norma Car, gonna be spicy.
Meanwhile, here you have the two Ferraris duking it out for track position right now. I do believe Roberto Gamba has just made the move on our chunk, but obviously it doesn't really matter, it's practice. One thing I will say though, Roberto Gamba currently having some good pace under his belt. Up in 6th fastest, Chunk is down in 16th, so clearly split duties for the two Ferrari drivers today, at least so far in practice.
Yep, indeed.
And I'm thinking they're hoping they can maximize their long run data. With those hard tires, it could really benefit them tomorrow.
Yep.
Chris Chatfield, meanwhile, is going to come into the pits this lap, as Byrne begins a lap for him.
Yep. He's so far in 13th at the moment. Surprisingly, I mean, Renault within this run haven't had the qualifying pace. Oh, there's a collision.
Gomez
It
has
was
been
a collision
shunted
between
off.
Gomez and I think that was a Mercedes, if I'm correct. And it
It
is
was
with
Lopez.
Franco Lopez. Let's see what happened here. Lopez went for the move on the
Another Formula One
inside.
champion.
Yeah. It's not really an overtaking place, but that pretty much sent Gomez into the wall.
Even on a car that much slower, it's still no place to try and overtake. And Gabriel
Yeah.
Gomez will be very thankful this is just practice. He doesn't have enough time to jump back in the T car, but it's not going to harm him for qualifying.
I think Lopez is pretty much preparing that for Armour Car.
I think Lopez has done all the crashing and spinning, has got that out of the way now, so he can have a clean qualifying session and race. That's my opinion.
But you never know.
You never
Anything
know.
could happen.
Byrne was
GP4
up
can
in
mix
the
things
sector.
up, so yeah.
Absolutely. As through the middle sector split goes and Byrne. Armarka is about to finish his lap meanwhile, impeded a little bit by that Williams. And by a little bit, I mean a whole lot, but he makes his way through just as the AlphaTauri comes out of the pits in front of Ka. Here we have Byrne in the meantime, still up on his personal best of 13th place. Let's see where he's going to end up with this lap.
Yep, you need, and he improved
Still
by
in 13th.
13 milliseconds, and he's still in 13th.
Insert Kasper Ackerman reference here.
Yep,
In
indeed.
any case, that's now for Mayo out on track.
And that is Gomez, and
He's already
that will
dropped back in the T car. How fast did he run to that pit lane? My gosh.
straight away.
Must have some speed like the Flash or something. In which case, you wouldn't even need to race in a car. You could just do the whole thing on foot. But in any case, Byrne is still out there on this run. I assume trying to go for a low fuel run. Well, as low as you can consider 27.5 laps to be. But in any case, I think he's going on a quali run, I should have said.
As
Lopez
Lopez
has
goes to
now
the
gone to the
top.
top of the session by just under 6 tenths. So he's finally starting to show a little bit of the pace of the Mercedes.
Yep. Is now looking at David Kupak, who is going to start his final lap. Well, his
Indeed.
final run, basically. As car is about to overtake him. Frank Gamba on a final run as well.
Try to overtake him anyway. Dodo Kirby comes
Kirby,
in for his
yeah,
first and last Korean GP practice. Mr. Martinez can't improve on that lap. He's coming in at the end of this lap, so his session is done for.
yeah. Wilson on the
His
lap.
teammate have just
Byrne
started
improves, goes to 10th.
He's climbed up 3 places there as he ran Daniel Fraser. Having a solid practice session so far, up in 15th. Obviously, he'll be hoping for a little better than that. Let's see if he can make it through Q2 in a few minutes' time, of course. And by a few minutes, I mean half an hour's time or so.
Yeah, we'll see. As Fraser doesn't improve, I think he has a bit
He'll just
cold.
about starts the lap. We have Andrea Federi finishing his without an improvement. Roland Mochan is going to miss out, or is he? 2-1-0. Checker flag is out, end of the session, and Mochan has
Just
to
has he? We'll see. Just about he missed out. Just
Well,
about.
that concludes things for this session, really. We'll just have to wait for the cars on the lap to finish it. You have Jamie Griffiths rounding off his practice session, P17. And, yep.
Lopez
appears to be improving yet again. He's
Yep.
climbed another 400s up, so he is fastest by 6 tenths from Nicholas Gal there. And his Red Bull teammate Franco Gamba. We have Jake Galloway up next in the meantime. Currently in P12, which is where he stays. Coming into the pits. Kupak was overtaken on that lap, so he's obviously not going to be in for an improvement. He's going to cross the line anyway.
Yep, indeed. Sontag improves but stays in 20th.
Only in front of the 2 manners, as now Franco Gamba cannot improve. Martinez is coming into the pits. We have Wilson in her new helmet, of course, that she's had since last race, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, she's going to finish her session. Can she get out of last place now?
Byrne doesn't improve. Gomez, he can't improve either. Fraser, his session is done. He's coming into the pits.
Indeed, I believe that leaves Chris Shadfield. And
Federi as well.
Yeah, him and Federi should be right about it. I mean, just about it. But let's see. Chatfield is going to come across the line in a few seconds' time. Can he get an improvement in here? Chatfield very solid P7 so far. Let's see how he'll do in qualifying. He didn't improve on this lap though. That's the end of his practice.
And that's practice session over.
He did miss out. Even if he was improving, didn't matter because the session is over. So that is practice done for. Franco Lopez goes fastest at the end of things, really, with Nicholas Gal second and Franco Gamba third. That's that, and I'm sure Joe's taking a screenshot for Twitter. But in any case, we'll be right back pretty shortly for the qualifying session here in Korea. So stay tuned, guys.